Well, I just got dropped off here at the entrance to the Wayne Kirsch Wildlife Management Area, where I'm going to start my next section. 125 miles to Tonopah. It's going to be one of the most deserty sections, I think, of this whole route. Let's do this thing. Finally back on trail after 3 full 0 days in Lund, or actually Preston. Well, my blisters are feeling better now. Feet are feeling pretty good. The big storm that rolled through the other day has moved on. Left a little bit of cold temperatures here. Actually, today is going to be the lowest ever high temperature for the town of Ely. High of 56 today. When I got to Lane's Ranch Motel in Preston, my food box wasn't there, and I checked the tracking number, and sure enough, it just got sent back to home. There was some sort of discrepancy with the address or whatever. Guy at the motel had offered to lend me his car, and he said I could just borrow his car and drive up to Ely and hit the grocery store. So everybody thinks of all the scenery and you know, walking and everything, and that's just basically all there is to a long distance hike. But it's so much more than that. You know, it's the people that you meet and, you know, the kindness that people show you. It's just restored my faith in humanity a bit. Oh look, cows. Those are rare out west. Close encounters of the bovine kind. Take that, you bastard sign. And this is White Pine Valley here, pretty massive. And I was staying about 35 miles north of here in Preston. And the guy that works at the motel there had given me permission to go across the street and hunt for arrowheads on the motel owner's land. So that was pretty neat. You could just see, you know, signs of old Indian camps just right along the wash there. So a lot of history and artifacts in the area. So now I'm heading to an area called Hot Creek Spring, and it's supposed to be more like a warm spring, not a hot spring. Might be a decent day to go for a little swim. It's supposed to be crystal clear blue water. Wow, look at this water. So this is Hot Creek Spring, a true desert oasis. Absolutely gorgeous. Just look at that water. Look at the color. Just unbelievable. And they have these rare minnows in the water, these little daisy minnows. Is what they're called, the daisy minnow. You can see some of them swimming around right there. And it's a shame it's so cold and windy today, but I didn't come all the way out here to not jump in. Woo! It's totally unexpected. You would just never expect this walking around in the desert and just see this beautiful, crystal clear blue water like this. Just unbelievable. I mean, wow. And that's why I do these through hikes, you know, to see stuff and do it and experience it, not just walk right past it. What's the point of coming out here if you don't stop and go swimming in the most beautiful desert hot spring you've ever seen, you know? So I'm just a couple miles away from the Grant Range now, and that's where I'm going. Ultimately is Troy Peak up there, that tallest peak, and then I'm gonna work my way down that ridgeline. It's Forest Home Spring down there. I was hoping there'd be some water in the public land side, but I don't see any, so I'll keep moving uphill. All right, so my plan didn't work out for water here at Forest Home Spring. Next water I have on my map that I marked was Big Spring, and that was like 11 miles away, and then nothing else, and that was actually dry, and then nothing else up on that whole ridge line. So I need to get some sort of water before I head up there. But no matter what, I think I'm gonna save that task for tomorrow and make camp somewhere and just deal with the 1 liter I have for tonight. Well, unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to follow through with the plan I had to go up to Timber Mountain up there and go up to Troy Peak and follow that little ridge line and all that. Just not realistic with the water situation. But I've got another water source in mind. I'm going to check that out. Got another plan. It might allow me to at least summit Troy Peak. And right now, the way this route's going, you know, I wake up every morning and look at my maps and just kind of see how feasible my route actually is, you know. Can I even do what I set out and planned to do? And a lot of times it's no. So I'm making little alternate routes on the fly, and that means I don't even have the information on water sources that I originally had. But yeah, it's this whole thing is just tough, you know. It's tough hiking, it's tough terrain. It's tough without the water, tough without the information. But man, what an adventure though, you know. All right, well, there's a spring up there. It's marked Horse Spring on the map. Well, it's fenced off, that's a good sign. Bit of green. Oh yeah, got a little bit of water in there. Wow, just a little bit. Not the best looking water, but I don't really have any other choice. I've only drank a liter and a half in the last 24 hours. So, well, unfortunately, there's a dead bird in that tank there, so I'm not going to draw from that. Yeah, and there's that dead bird right there. So I don't want anything to do with that water. However, I rigged up a little thing here with my shot cord. Now the water just drips into this bottle, and I don't have to hold it here and get bombarded by bees and flies and smell this rotting dead bird carcass. So I'll let that drip in there for a while and come back when she's done. I got about maybe a liter and a half in a half hour. Really slow. So it's better than nothing. I've got another water source on my map here that I'm going to shoot for in another couple of miles. And what I think I'm going to do next is head over to Scofield Canyon. Well, I was on a dirt road and I looked at my map and realized I was not on the road I wanted to be. The road I want to be on was paralleling that. So I headed off trail and got to the area where the road was supposed to be, and there's nothing. So now I'm just off trail. Well, I'm in this little wash, might as well follow this. Maybe a little easier going, maybe not. It's getting kind of narrow now, but I'm walking on all these old roads, and these are pretty much abandoned. I mean, nobody's really driving on these. Man, it's such a wild place to be, just so empty. So vast, so empty. We've got water overflowing from this tank here. Wow, good flow. That's nuts, not even on the map. Cool. I'm thirsty. There's some wild horses approaching right here. I don't know if they see me. Got a young one and everything. Wow, they're so close now. I think he sees me. He sees me and smells me. Man, what a great break. I cameled up back there, drank about 2 liters, took 7 with me. Really feeling it in my pack now, but there's not going to be any water for a little while, so I don't really have much of a choice. And this is Scofield Canyon. This may be the end of the road here. I know this road was supposed to be washed out. Just massive, so impressive. Map shows some sort of road going through here, but I don't really see a road. It's more like a wash. Yeah, completely off trail now. I'm just following the edge of these cliffs, trying to find a way down. I don't think this is going to be the way either. And you still got these drop-offs over here. All right, got some thorn bushes here. Nice, nice. I'm down in the wash. Got a whole new set of challenges ahead of me now. I don't see any remnants of that road that's on the map. And it's gonna be like this the whole way. Man, I don't know. Kind of committed to it now. We just found this rock overhang here. You got one here, a small cave, I guess. And some sort of poop or something up there. Somebody shitting on the cliffs here. And things have opened up a little bit. And even found the remnants of the old road. Pretty clear it hasn't been used in many years. There's another cave up there. Let me go check that out. That one looks a little bit bigger. Actually, a bunch of bones. A whole bunch of bones, actually. Check this out. I found this piece of obsidian, and you can tell this thing has been, you know, chipped and worked just by the angles on it, you know. Well, back to it. Those bushes ain't gonna whack themselves. Man, what a shame about this forest fire. Pretty impressive canyon otherwise. Yeah, another cave. Definitely the biggest one yet. Pretty sure this is mountain lion crap. And I've been seeing it in pretty much every cave. None of it's fresh. A lot of hair and stuff here and some bones. But clearly they like to use these caves. Oh, and look. And lest we forget, a hoof. It's kind of hard to tell, but I think that's a badger. Yeah, I think that's a badger. There's an elk. There's like 4 big elk right there. Man, Scofield Canyon has all the wildlife. Well, I've worked my way up into the upper reaches of Scofield Canyon, and my exit point is that ridgeline tomorrow. Going up that, and that'll get me to the crest. Well, here's camp for the night, high in Scofield Canyon. I was a bit worried for a while. I couldn't find any flat, level ground. Everything's really, really rocky. but I kind of cleared out a spot here, so I'm sure I'll have a decent sleep. But man, look at this view. I haven't had a campsite like this in a while. It's got these sheer cliffs here. Just absolutely awesome. Man, how's this for a view to wake up to? 6 a.m. and the sun is shining bright, but truth be told, I actually got woke up by a really loud explosion. If it wasn't for just the sun on my tent, but there was a really loud explosion somewhere. I don't know where, but man, it just echoed through this canyon like. And breakfast this morning is this triangular shaped muffin. And now I gotta find my way up to the top of the ridgeline, and then it's miles and miles and miles of ridgeline walking that I don't know anything about. I can't find any information on it, so it's gonna be quite an adventure. Just made it up to the top of this lower ridge line here. Got my first view basically of the canyon next to me here, which I think is Rimrock Canyon. And next we go up to that ridge line, and that's the crest of the Grant Range right there. And this climb is just brutal, absolutely brutal. It looks like I'm almost at the top, but just another false summit. So now contouring around this hillside here and trying to get over to this ridge line. And she's a bit steep. So I'm gonna contour around here a little bit and then drop down on this ridge line and keep working my way around. I'm walking the crest of the Grant Range now, and this is what it looks like. It's actually pretty wooded. It's kind of nice with the trees, a little bit of shade, but a few more obstacles. A lot of the stuff's pretty rocky now. You can just see all these like outcrops of rocks here to climb over. That's been kind of slow going. It's the kind of stuff that's hidden on the topo maps, kind of stuff you don't see. It's gonna be a problem. I'm trying to work my way around the base of this thing. Just see if I can find some sort of route up top. I work my way around this hillside and up this little chute here. All right. God, all this stuff just, look at this. I want to use a handhold here and none of this stuff is even stable. Oh yeah. All right, made it on top of the ridgeline. I mean, you can see what I was working with. You can just see how steep that is. Still got to go up over this. Looks quite a bit more manageable. And then whatever's on the other side. Oh, finally some green. That forest fire is pretty widespread, but it's a pretty nice little canyon here. Next up is that ridgeline. Looks okay going up, but going down, I don't know. One of the great things about hiking is it can be done at just about any level of intensity, you know. One of the biggest motivators for me is fear. If I can be totally honest, just fear of getting older and not having utilized my younger years to the fullest. Those leisurely hikes will be there for me when I get older. You know, they're not going anywhere. If that's the easy route, then why would I squander my younger years taking the easy route, you know? Well, it's been a lot slower going up here than I thought. I was hoping this ridgeline would be a little bit more, you know, like rolling hills and, you know, maybe a little bit less foresty and rocky, you know? But yeah, it's been a challenge, so I'm hoping to just be able to complete the ridgeline section today. So I'm following some game trails now. Well, trying to meet back up with one anyway, around Willow Peak. And it just pretty much looked like a series of cliffs. And kind of want to avoid cliffs. So this working out so far. That game trail really worked out. I made my way all the way around these cliffs in 15 minutes or so. That would have been a whole ordeal going up that. So this first valley is Garden Valley. It's the Golden Gate Range running through here. And then in the distance, that large mountain range on the other side of the White River Valley is the Egan's, which I walked through on the last section. And up there is Willow Peak. That's the cliffs that I avoided. Good call. I found another game trail so I can skirt around this little peak here. Sure beats climbing up that. It's Railroad Valley down there. On the far side of the valley is the Palisades Wilderness Study Area and the Wall Wilderness Study Area. And then there's Lunar Crater and the Pancake Range. Some of the most desolate lands in Nevada, some of the most desolate, some of the most remote. And Highway 6 runs on the other side of the Pancake Range there. And for me, it's going to be a 78-mile hitch to the nearest town, which is Tonopah. And then the other options are, I think, 95 miles and 85 miles or something like that. So when you're talking about the nearest town in either direction, you know, 85 miles, 78 miles, that's just nuts. Whoa! Absolutely wild. Absolutely wild. And this is a bristlecone pine tree right here. These are some of the oldest living trees in the world, I think, if not the oldest living tree in the world. Some of these can be over 4,000 years old. So this is an area I marked on the map before I left home as a possible campsite if I got stuck up on the ridge and couldn't make it off before the end of the night. And turns out it's actually pretty good. You know, scoured the satellites and the topo maps, and it's nice to get here and see, you know, what you had planned to actually work out. However, it is 3:15. I think I'm going to try and push downhill here and I picked a ridge that just basically looked the least steep. And I've got 3,000 feet to follow this ridge line down, all off trail. So this is going to be extremely taxing, and there's just no way to know the challenges that lie ahead. Well, these trees are getting to be quite a nuisance to walk through now. Yeah, quite thick. Oh man. So that's where I came from about an hour and a half ago. I'm maybe halfway down now. Kind of just reached a saddle where I'll be changing directions a little bit. Now it's a little bit cliffier here. So I've worked my way all the way around this little hillside here, and it's just sheer cliffs, you know, maybe 100 feet down or something. It's just not gonna happen. Luckily I found a way over here, but pretty frequently now I've been on the verge of getting cliffed out. You just can't see over the edge of this, you know. I don't really know if it's gonna work out or not. It's definitely getting interesting. I just dislodged a big boulder. It came rolling down the hill and started pushing me with it. I was lucky that boulder didn't take me out and throw me over that cliff. And it just goes to show you, man, one wrong step out here and you're done. I think it's time to sit down for a minute. That boulder started moving behind my leg and in front of my leg, so it kind of had me tripped up. If I would have tripped and fell, I would have tumbled right over that cliff. That boulder would have pushed me right over. Man, that was a close call. Not that much further, but it's just so sketchy. And then I think I'll be okay. I just stopped and took a little break. To be honest, I'm pretty shooken up with the little incident with the boulder. But I just got to make it down just a little bit, these ledges here, and then I think I'm okay. Well, I'm down off the high ridge line, all the steep terrain, and now I'm in this creek bed, this ravine, and the canyon walls look pretty steep over there, so you know, something like a box canyon. That's the thing about these creek beds, these washes, they're always choked with debris. It's just nasty. Thick, thorny. Man, this stuff is just terrible. Oh. Oh, thorn bushes. Thorn bushes on my cuts from earlier, from the boulder. Oh man, this side's probably gonna be super thick with all this sun. Oh man, this sucks. If I can make it past this part, I'm good. Just gotta suffer through it a little more. As if I haven't suffered enough today. No wonder why my friends won't go hiking with me. Well, I've reached my first pour off. Thankfully, this one looks climbable. It's only about 8 feet down. There's just really no good handholds or anything. I have to push in my way. Well, I made it down off the pour off. Kind of way to wedge myself in there and shimmy my way down. And so far, No more other pour-offs here. And the canyon's opening up a little bit now. So I think I'm past the worst of it. So I guess I'll make it out tonight. There's a cave up there. All these mountains are supposed to have tons and tons of undiscovered caves. Well, I made it out of the little box canyon there. I just can't tell you how relieved I am to be to be out of that canyon and off that mountain. I don't even have the words. Whoa! I got about a mile to my water source. Just don't want to camp by it. I'm gonna have to get my water though and back away from it. It's kind of like boxed into this little canyon. Hopefully not like the last one I just went through, but I just don't want to camp by a water source. Not out here. There's too many animals that rely on it. Wouldn't be fair to them, and I don't want the encounters. Nevada, one of the best kept secrets. Just incredible. Get a bit of a pour off here. You could probably climb up that, but I mean, I'm not gonna bother. There's supposed to be water around here somewhere. What I'm looking for is called a guzzler. And the state of Nevada has built something like 1,800 guzzlers throughout the state. And it's basically a wildlife initiative. Gives them a water source. It collects rainwater and then they can just kind of drink out of it. And I've got coordinates that show it's deep in this canyon here somewhere. And there it is. There's the guzzler. Man, they have this thing hidden. Here we go. We got this flying saucer, this UFO thing that just landed here. I just gotta figure out how to get the water out of it. Oh yeah, it's got water. It's probably pretty nasty though. I can only imagine how many dead birds and dead animals fell in that thing. And you got like a murder hornet there. Just filtered 5 liters. Yeah, the water's not too bad. It's got a green tint to it. A lot of floating insects and things like that, but not all that bad actually. No dead bird or anything. So now I just got to make it out of the canyon before sunset here. Now I can turn that guzzler back over to the animals. She's all yours, boys. Yep, feet are pretty dirty. Yeah, blisters have been bothering me all day too. Boy, it sure is good to get these shoes off though. Just woke up a little bit late today. Feeling pretty wrecked. I think I was running on pretty much just adrenaline yesterday. I didn't really eat since 12:30. Man, yesterday was one of the hardest days of hiking of my life. I might have covered 10 miles, so maybe a mile an hour all day, if that gives you any kind of indication on how difficult the terrain was. You know, the funny thing was I woke up yesterday and I was feeling really good. Nice morning, perfect temperature, no wind, birds are chirping, beautiful sunshine shining right on me. And everything just felt good. I felt, you know, at peace with the world, you know. And then just all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I had a feeling I might die that day. I don't know why. I mean, looking at the terrain on the map, none of it looked, you know, overly difficult or anything like that. I don't know where that feeling came from. It was just so bizarre. But at the same time, I still felt just completely, you know, at peace with the world. So I shrugged it off and, you know, went on with my day, and you know, then the Boulder incident happened, and you know, I had that brush with the boulder and the cliff, and then the box canyon of doom. And you know, I guess over a long enough timeline, you know, like anybody that comes out here and does this kind of stuff, even at a couple notches below what yesterday was, you will lose your life over a long enough timeline, you know. And I'm not trying to be dramatic about it. I mean, that's just the way it is, you know. It only takes one mistake, just one mistake. You only have to let your guard down once. You know, the mountains don't always give you a second chance. I was lucky I got one yesterday, but I get to live another day, do it all over again. Well, I continue off trail all day yesterday. Got a little bit more to go here, and then meet up with the road. So that's gonna be a welcome relief. Temperatures are heating up. Cool weather that was here a few days ago is gone. It's a hot night in the tent last night. Got a 40-degree bag and I couldn't even keep it on me. And it's like a maze going through all this stuff. There's always one pathway through. You know, larger animals moving through. So there's always a path. But it's just like a crisscrossy maze. See? Let's go this way. After a day and a half off trail, I finally hit this 4x4 road. I know it barely looks like a road, but it's marked on the map. And one thing about the West is they always have all these different ways to you know, fence things off and create a gate, you know, and different mechanisms for opening and closing them. This one, I've seen something similar to this before, but nothing exactly like it. And this one just operates like this. And just kind of, you know, just made it out of the wilderness here and onto this main road. I think it actually separates the Grant Range from the Quinn Canyon Range. Besides western Nevada, closer to the Sierras, Nevada doesn't really have much of a bear population. But this really looks like bear scat to me. And normally I try and avoid road walks. This is pretty nice now actually, but just in general, you know, nobody wants to do a long distance hike and road walks. But you know, with the kind of terrain I was doing yesterday, I think I got 10 miles in maybe. You just can't do that every single day and expect to cover miles. Sometimes you gotta suck it up and walk a few roads, cover some miles, and be honest, it's just really nice to have a bit of a mental break from all the stuff I was doing yesterday. There's a lot of interesting colored rocks. None of them are very interesting rocks themselves though. Just very colorful. That's a great sign. Little Cherry Creek is flowing even down here. So nothing beats a flowing creek. The most arid state in the nation. Nevada only gets 7 inches of rain a year on average, so you know, water's pretty much a luxury out here. Flowing water. Well, I guess this is it. This is the Cherry Creek campground. Pretty nice, right along the river, I guess. That's a bit of a milestone here. This is the first actual trail, like foot trail, along this whole route. I really don't expect it to be that well maintained. Oh, look at this, even a river crossing. Some logs. There's a trout. There he is. Well, I'm about 50 feet from the campground, so any hopes of this trail being maintained at all have been pretty much dashed. But holy crap, look at this just lush area. This is like a jungle. Oh man, it's gonna be a nightmare. I got a long ways to go on this trail, if you can call it that. But wow, look at this canyon. This reminds me of New Mexico, like the Gila River. Oh, the wilderness, cool. The trail will be maintained better here, from here on out. Ooh, get a wobbler. It's like the 10th stream crossing now. Damn it, you know, I made it all the way out here and hang gliders are prohibited. I mean, what the hell am I gonna do now? So the narrow box canyon section, pretty short-lived. Now the canyon has opened up a bit. Of course, the only creek flowing through here is all fouled up by cows. And a perfectly good little meadow ruined by cows. There's cow shit everywhere, it smells. This canyon has multiple springs, so this one obviously doesn't have a whole lot of flow to it. I was trying to wait until I hit the uppermost one before I stocked up on water. So this looks like my spot. Well, this whole trip I've been basically just making up alternate routes on the fly. A lot of these I haven't had any kind of plans for water or anything. And I'm basically going to be doing the same thing here. My original plan to drop down, is to follow Cherry Creek up here to the end and then drop down into Hooper Canyon. But that's gonna take me many miles kind of out of the direction that I want to go. So I'm looking at another alternate route through Willow Canyon, and it looks like there could be some water at one point in the lower part of the canyon, but I don't know. I have no idea. And then beyond that, my next water source is just way out in the middle of Railroad Valley, and that's pretty sketchy too. It was a couple of old corrals with a water tank that I'm really not counting on. Those look pretty dry, and there was one giant, murky, nasty looking puddle. So I don't know when my next actual water source is going to be, so I'm filling up with 6 liters now. After my next water source, it's like 30 miles to Highway 6, and that's all dry through Lunar Crater and stuff. I mean, that's like bone dry through the Pancake range. Of course, I just filtered water because the creek ran dry, and then, I don't know, a quarter mile upstream, there's another creek. So the spring flows, and then it just disappears into the ground, and then there's another spring. This canyon is blessed with water. Well, this trail has been intermittent at best. You know, occasionally you see it and you can follow it, and then it just fades out. There's so many little cow paths that cross these fields. You don't really know if you're on the actual trail or not. Kind of getting funneled in between this rock face and the hillside up here, which isn't good because generally anything along the wash is just choked with thorn bushes and thick vegetation. I don't like being forced into thorny situations. There's a bull right there. It really spooked me. I just saw this giant animal. You know, I don't want to be butting heads with an angry bull. Oh, man, this stuff is just so thick. My legs are going to be like leather at the end of this trip. Haven't really seen much for campsites. Got like a flat spot here actually. Oh, it's just a giant anthill. And that's what I've come up so far. Just 200 feet more to go. I'll be at the top of this little saddle where I hope to find a campsite. Pretty risky. Daylight's kind of fading now. If I don't find a campsite up there, I don't know. I'm not gonna have time to get down the other side. It's gonna be more of this kind of stuff, so it's a huge gamble. Wow, look at this. It's just awful. Oh. And I'm almost at the top now. I'm just hemmed in by these cliffs. So I'm gonna find a way up there and then hope for a flat spot, and it's really not looking that promising. Well, I think I found my exit. I think I can get up here. Maybe a bit of climbing involved, but I think it can happen. All right, final push. Stay strong, little roots. Almost there. Just on this little ledge for a quick breather. All right, flat enough for camp. Wow, what a view from camp, you know. I've actually had some excellent campsites this last couple nights, this whole section. I've just been thoroughly impressed with this whole area. This is really weird. The other day when I was camped in Scofield Canyon, I heard this loud explosion in the morning, and I couldn't figure out what it was. I just chalked it up to like maybe a prospector blowing something up with dynamite or something. But I heard it again this morning at maybe just before 5 a.m. I think I figured it out. I think it's a sonic boom. I think it's military aircraft, and it's a sonic boom from the breaking the sound barrier. But that's twice in the last 3 days now that's happened. So how's the sonic boom for a wake-up call, you know? Well, here we go. Time to drop down into Willow Creek, into the unknown. I'm about 100 feet below the little saddle where I camped. I already slipped and fell once. So off to a great start this morning. Oh, but look, a little game trail. Sweet. Follow this for like 30 feet until it fades away. Well, that didn't take long. Back into the jungle. About the only route I can see is just kind of follow this little high section, kind of meet back down with the ravine down there. None of it looks very good. Used to kicking steps in snow. It sucks to do in rocks, I'll tell you that. Yep. Well, I made it out of the worst of it, down out of the ravine, out of the steep canyon with the steep slopes and the super thick vegetation, and now just working my way through some moderately thick vegetation. And this is why you don't set balloons off in the air, because they end up in places like this. Let's see what the occasion was. Welcome back. Welcome back. We welcome you back with a deposit of garbage in the wilderness. Come on, people. I'm down out of the high mountains now and working my way down Willow Creek Canyon. Map shows a foot trail, and I think I'm on it. And a little bit further up shows a road. I'm gonna dip down into Railroad Valley later today and probably hopefully make it maybe halfway across. Yeah, last few days it's just been absolutely gnarly, just absolutely nuts, really. So this will kind of be a good little break. I think you never really know. And here we have some mining debris, some debris. Historical relics, do not remove. Because I really wanted to take these old rusty cans home with me. And of course right here, we've got one of these. And if you don't know what this is, I don't know what to tell you. And I don't know what it is either, but here it is. And we'll leave it and let it remain part of the historical record of the area. People always talk about being well, I'm probably the only one to have ever set foot here in this spot or in this valley or whatever the case. And, it sounds great, but the reality is in almost every case, there was somebody there before you. Native American, a miner in the 1800s. I mean, somebody's been there. More signs of mining here. We got these old pilings. There's another one down there. So more than likely there was some sort of trolley or something, maybe bringing down some rock and things down into the valley and then maybe cart it out. And there we go. The map shows I'm on the old road now. Tell you what, one thing I've learned about Nevada is, you are literally never out of the woods until you're actually out of the woods. I mean, a road on the map doesn't mean anything. Trail certainly doesn't mean anything. I'll be honest, it's kind of hard to keep a positive attitude going through all this thick, thorny brush. I mean, it's just like wall to wall. You're pushing through it and it's scraping you up. I mean, the map shows there's a road here. It also shows there's a trail. There's nothing, man. There's nothing. It's nuts. So I finally did the smart thing and put my pant legs on. So that'll help me get through all this stuff. I can't wear them too long because I start getting heat rash on my legs. So it's either, heat rash or, get them all scraped up. But I think for right now, the pant legs make sense. I just gotta fight my way through this. On a positive note, I smell really good. Moving through all this sage. So this is Willow Creek. This is what I've been fighting my way through all this morning. And it's just getting ridiculously thick now. It's more than just sagebrush. It's like just willow and just all sorts of other stuff. There's actually a flowing creek down there. You can kind of hear it, maybe a small cascade. And I try to work my way up on this high ground to find a way around it. But now, I mean, I'm gonna have to try and find a way down and then across it. So I gotta say at this point, this canyon's just a nightmare. I just came through this impenetrable thicket here and gotta do the same thing on the other side. I was pretty much crawling on the ground to get under this stuff. And you can see, I mean, it just looks like there's no way out. I mean, who only knows what's hiding in this stuff, you know? I just don't have any other choice. No way. No way. I just came across this mine. Working my way through this hillside. Holy crap. All right, I'm gonna have to drop my pack and get my headlamp. Hello? Oh wow, and it splits off. Guess that one was a dead end. Well, and this is it. There's dead ends here. A lot of quartz. Just imagine the effort to, you know, do this all by hand. Follow the light. Man, how cool is that? Man. Just when you think your day is really tough and you know, you busted your ass for nothing, you know, you get rewarded with something like this. A chance to walk through an old mine. This thing's literally just hidden. It's funny because each day I keep saying, this is the worst bushwhack of my life. So I'm just, every inch of me has thorns in it. And finally I made it to this. So I did a little vertical rock climb up this thing and got up here. Because this is the way. This is what I've been going through. I've been walking my way through fucking this. I'm about to lose my mind. I can't take much more of this. This fucking canyon just won't let me out. And there's a shack right there. I don't know how to get to it. I'm not gonna bother trying, that's for sure. It makes no sense. How do you have a road like this and then it just goes into an impenetrable wall out of nowhere, and then it goes right back to being a goddamn road?
After 6 hours of non-stop bushwhacking, the canyon finally let me out.
Man, I'm so relieved to be out of that canyon. I never want to do that again, never. Lost a water bottle in the debris, came out of my side pocket. And I lost a microphone to my GoPro. I had an external microphone plugged in. But this stretch definitely came at a cost. And that's Railroad Valley down there. Looks pretty massive. So for a cooler full of Gatorade, but no luck. Last water for a ways, so I'm gonna fill up here, chug a couple of liters, I'm really thirsty, and take a dip in that nice waterfall. Out of everything I've gone through today, bushwhacking down that nightmarish canyon, I just couldn't imagine a better reward than to bathe in that little waterfall. Even though it's only 3 feet high, I don't care. Only thing I want more than that bath is this water. Well, every water source in the desert is amazing, but that one was truly unforgettable. But now it's time to set out into Railroad Valley. And as you can see, there's a bit of a dust storm going on out there. It's a dry lake. And I gotta make my way right over there, kind of into that notch is where I'm headed. Taking my last steps off the hills here and out into the desert. Because there's a dried lake bed there. If it was blowing my way, I'd be eating dust right now. Desert here is pretty easy to walk, so I'm taking advantage of that, just walking a straight line. Across an old lake bed like this. It's just so vast and empty. It's so windy now. Winds have got to be like 30 miles an hour. More. Just hope I can find a spot out of the wind tonight. Just so exposed out here, you know? So what I'm headed for now is that like little black hump there, maybe a little bit to the right of that. And there's supposed to be a corral there, stone reservoir corral. So that's kind of like my last chance of getting water really before the end of this segment. I'm gonna shoot for that, and if nothing else, it might offer a little bit of refuge out of the wind tonight. Hello in there! There's a water tank up in the distance there. Looks like a couple of trailers. See a lot of cow footprints, a lot of cow shit. I'm gonna have to say, get a good feeling. I think there's water here. And look at that. We have water. All right. Last water for about 35 miles or a day and a half. So I took 8 liters. Even my dirty bag I saved for later. I put some dirty water in here, as you can see by the nice green tint to it. So I'm all set to go. Lunar Crater tomorrow. Wind must be 35 miles an hour. This is soft sand. My tent is not gonna stick in the sand. So I gotta find a spot that's out of the wind. Yeah, and look down there, there's like a stone wall. That'll be perfect to get out of this wind. Oh, no way, there's a cave. Never slept in a cave. Oh. Okay, that's a bit too small. Cool though, cool cave. All right, back to the stone wall thing.
so the stone wall didn't block the wind enough, but still pretty neat.
Well, I finally found a spot out of the wind behind this big rock. It is a bit soft sand, but once you brush away the top layer, it's actually fairly hard ground. So I got a couple rocks on my stakes there just in case. Well, it was a pretty windy night. Fortunately, my rock wall here covered me most of the night. Occasionally the wind shifted and got quite a bit of sand in the tent, actually, but then it just died down and it was like perfectly calm. And it's just so quiet right now, it's crazy. So just a few feet from camp here, I found these little chips from making arrowheads and then this big piece of chert. And you know, it makes a lot of sense that the American Indians would use these little hills like I did last night for cover from the wind and probably to hunt. You know, there's really nothing else around. So they had the high ground. Just makes a lot of sense. And that's one thing I like about hiking, you know, is literally an opportunity to step back in time, kind of experience the land in the ways that others did, you know, generations before you, millennia before you. Yeah, another small cave. Check this one out. Not really big enough for human use, really, but nice view, nice view. Look at that. And this whole area is just littered with arrowheads and chips and fragments from making arrowheads. So still, almost eerie, you know. So I'm just walking along and I found this USGS marker. Normally you see these on the top of mountain passes or mountain peaks, but it was a little weird to see it here, just kind of a random spot here in the desert. It's the Quinn Canyon Range where I came from yesterday, and Railroad Valley. Pretty much done with that. And now I'm on to the Pancake Range, which is a volcanic range. I haven't really seen any signs of human activity or anything around here, so kind of cool to see what's up there. Probably nothing, but maybe a couple caves or something tucked away, you never know. Well, break time, and now it's time to empty out all the sand that's in my shoes. That's only the first half. The other half is in here. I think just about everybody appreciates the beauty of the mountains, but the desert's definitely got its own vibe. And I've never been a religious person, but something about being out in the desert, it's raw, you know, it's primitive, spiritual in a way. Maybe as close as I'll ever get to religion. Well, I'm on this dirt road now, and man, what a relief. all that deep sand is just horrible to walk through. It's just tiring and slow. You can just really feel my pace slow down, you know? And here's an old water tank. Wasn't expecting this out in the middle of nowhere, which, by the way, is the furthest place from somewhere. So the route I have planned for the Basin and Range Trail is mostly a mountain route, with the deserts or basins being connectors in between the mountain ranges. And right now, this stretch is perhaps maybe the longest stretch of desert or basin throughout the whole route.
It's also probably the most remote. There's only one town, if you can even call it a town, within a 70 air mile radius from my location. Nevada is the definition of empty. It's awesome.
I walk past stuff like this and it just sparks my curiosity, you know? Wonder what kind of rocks are over there. Wonder what the view is like from the top. Wonder if there's any caves. I just want to see it. But you know, the sad reality is you just never have time for it all. And you just have to walk right by it all, and it just remains a mystery. Well, it's time to leave the road, do a little cross-country hiking. This is where the real adventure begins. You kind of get off the main paths and you start making your own. Man, just awesome views now of the whole Pancake range. And that's Lunar Lake over there, that dried lake bed. I just love the way the light glows on the dried lake bed, you know? Over in this direction, basically the point I'm kind of headed for at the moment is that's Morey Peak. And I'll be climbing that on the next section. That's on the other side of Highway 6. It's actually a lot further away than it looks. And distances can be so deceiving out here. You know, things that look like maybe only 10 miles end up being 30.
This is actually an old volcanic crater called Lunar Crater. It's 3,600 feet across and 450 feet deep. Back in the 70s, NASA used this area as a training site to prepare astronauts for the Apollo moon missions. And you can really see why. Man, that is cool. These craters, called a maar, formed when groundwater comes in contact with hot lava or magma. And this is just one of several throughout the Lunar Crater volcanic field. I got lucky and ran into two awesome guys at Lunar Crater who were kind enough to drive me 80 miles to Tonopah, the nearest town, so I can resupply.
And this is all the debris that ended up in my bag from bushwhacking. And they're ready for another 120 miles.
Thanks for watching. I hope I've earned your subscription and a thumbs up. Visit basinandrangetrail.com for official maps and guidebook, follow Seeking Lost on social media, and consider lending your support on Patreon if you would like to see more quality outdoor content.